To the cloud. Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm super excited for this training tonight that we're bringing to you. And so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm sticking to my new format for everybody that watches this or is on live. So the first thing I want to share with you is something that I am starting to read right now. And I debated on whether I started back with The Morning Miracle. It's Hal Elrod. But I can't deny the fact that a couple people in my life in the last 2 weeks that I love and respect, women that I've met in networking groups, have both mentioned this book. And so I ordered it right away, and I only read the introduction, but it's by Hal Elrod, and it's called The Miracle Equation. So I read Hal Elrod's The Miracle Morning probably like 3 or 4 years ago. And he just gives you basically a morning outline to go through routinely to really set up yourself for a pattern and what's the word I'm looking for? Something you do every day, right? A discipline that just really starts your day in the right way. It involves journaling, prayer, exercise, just many different things. The one thing I wanted to read you real quick that really stuck out to me, even in the introduction, and then I'll move on, is he said, I had basically coasted through my younger years, putting in the smallest amount of effort necessary to get the greatest return. And I was no longer okay with that. And I honestly believe that that's something that's easy to do in an industry like this, especially with a product like Protandim, when even though the company may not look great with the numbers, you still have people using the product every single day. Like, we're in the best place we've ever been, but our company has always been so stable no matter what because of the products that we have. Sometimes it is easy to just put in a little bit of effort and you're still getting that paycheck. And then it's up to you to come to the point in your life where you're like, am I okay with just coasting, or is it not okay to coast? And now it's time to really make a decision and really use this in the way that I know God wants me to. So that is what I'm reading now. I will be sharing stuff with you guys from there. If there's a book you're reading or a quote you come across during the week or a devotional that just eats at you and you're like, this would be so good for the team Zoom, please text me throughout the week, and I would love for you to share that. The next thing is I'm going to read to you again the LifeVantage purpose statement. And I was thinking about this and the podcast I listened to. Well, I would encourage you guys. I was thinking I need to have my family at dinner when we sit down together. Think of a purpose or a mission statement for our family. Something that we know we're all collectively in together, that we're all striving for together, just to make us better, whether it's talking about communication, respect, whatever it is. But I would encourage you guys to come up with one for your business and then one as a family as well. I just think it's a great idea. And they talk about it on podcasts. But here's the LifeVantage purpose statement. We dare to imagine an abundant world where both physical and financial health is optimized. We believe your well-being matters. That's why we've combined the cutting-edge research of nutrigenomics with a leverage plan to build your own legacy, because you matter. I gotta say it real quick and then we'll get to Gloria. Nutrigenomics, I met with a gal 2 days ago. She just started an Arbonne. Drives me nuts. But she is a researcher. She loves science. And when I said nutrigenomics, she about jumped out of her seat. Like that term and epigenetics and biohacking, she was so, she's like, you got to send me the ABC report. She's like, I got to see what this is. She's like, I know all about this stuff. And then, of course, I'm thinking, oh, this is great. She might. And then she's like, and I'm leaving Wednesday for an Arbonne conference. And then when I get back, we should talk. And I'm like, she's going to go and she's going to drink the Kool-Aid and she's going to be so excited about Arbonne when she comes back, whatever. But still, like that term, nutrigenomics, biohacking, all that stuff, like people are starting to hear it. It's a phrase they're starting to hear about. So tonight, I finally buckled down Gloria Brinker to talk to you guys. And I'm so excited about this because I was telling them earlier, Gloria, like hearing you on the 3-way call last night with Tina and Sherry, and your knowledge and the way you talk about things. Like, I mean, you could sell me dog poop and I'd buy it. Like you just, I just believe you. I just trust you. And I know that you know what you're talking about. And the way that you understand the body, and then more importantly, the way that you can translate what you know about the body is so beautiful. And it's just so easy to understand. And that is evident in your business and the way you're growing your team and the way you bring in customers like a mad woman. So, Gloria, I want you to take it over. Gloria is going to explain to us why our cells need the vitality stack. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, Glo, all you.
Okay. All righty. First of all, I'll give you a little bit of background about me is that I actually was first an occupational therapist. And then I had a rare opportunity to be working with a convent of retired sisters. And what they wanted to offer them was a medical route of care and a naturopathic route of care. It's a very odd position for an OT to get, but it was phenomenal. And I learned so much with that. And so we had 124 Benedictine sisters who lived at the convent. Some were nursing home, assisted living, and then independent living. And so I got to work with a naturopathic doctor who came in there. And what I really witnessed was the profound difference it made when the sisters took care of their cells and how much better they did in rehabilitation. And after they've had a stroke or after a hip fracture or a knee replacement or a shoulder replacement, and I couldn't believe the difference that it was. And it was a beautiful thing that at the convent was considered their home and they wanted to give them the choice. So even if they had like sinus congestion, do you want to go to the medical doctor or do you want to go to rehabilitation and wellness? That's what I was the director of, rehabilitation and wellness. And do you want to try some echinacea? Do you want to try some probiotics? Do you want to try some essential oils? Do you want massage? Do you want some reflexology? But it opened up a whole new wealth of knowledge for me that I would have never gotten if I just stayed in traditional therapy. So it was just phenomenal is what it was. And so I did that for 5 years. And then after about 5 years, I went off on my own and opened my, I worked 2 years just out of my home. And then now I've been in business and holding forward. It's called A Healthy Glow. People call me Glow. And so we're working on health. And so my sister-in-law is like, you have to call it A Healthy Glow. So the thing is, A Healthy Glow, keeping you healthy from head to toe. Okay, because I do like emotional things, and then I also do reflexology, so it kind of all fits together. But anyway, so about 3 years ago was when Alyssa Spaniel came to me for a massage, and she was telling me about oxidative stress, which I had kind of known about it, but I didn't really know exactly what to do. And I'm a big researcher. I mean, I have to know the science and all the understanding and things like that behind it. And I'm excited to share with you about the Vitality Stack because I just think it is a home run in regards to what our cells need. I've always focused on digestion. I've always focused on nutrition and things like that. But this Protandim Nerf 1 and Nerf 2 is a game changer, and then just understanding how the Vitality Stack and what it can do to the cells of the body. And that's what I was always about, was like, don't over supplement the body, but how do the cells actually heal? So I'm excited to get going with that. So now I'm going to try this, Tanya. Hope this is going to work. So I think I go here. Do I go there? Yay. Okay. So from the beginning.
Good job, Gloria. Look at you. You're so professional.
What happened? Where did it go? Okay, so this is partly the PowerPoint that I do share with my downline, and so what they can focus on. And so I had to revamp it a little bit with Tanya's guidance to say, Gloria, it's too like technical and things like that. So I had to downscale a little bit, but my downline is just doing fabulous with it. So we really talk about how LifeVantage is very different, because I never wanted to get into a confrontation of like, this is better, but it's a very, very different way to look at health and life and longevity. And so that's the first slide there. And so, I know what I was going to talk about there is that I do really focus on what makes the body function, but I try to really keep it at a very simple thing. And so the reality of it is that our body is made of billions and billions of tiny little cells, okay? That's what it is. And so these cells can actually be toxic and sluggish, or they can be clean and vibrant, and they can be anywhere in between there. So it can be very toxic and very sluggish, or very clean and very vibrant. And then, like I said, anytime in between there. So the reality of it is that if your cells are toxic and sluggish, you're going to feel sick. You don't have much energy or difficulty sleeping, recurring infections. If your cells are clean and vibrant, you're going to feel great. You'll have energy, you'll sleep well, and you'll recover from illness and infection more quickly. And so I do sometimes get a kick out of people who say, I've never been sick. I've never been sick. And it's like, well, no, I get sick too, because I mean, I travel and I do different things. But if we can recover from our illness and our infection quickly, that really is a sign that our cells are healthier. And so we all know some of these things. And this is, for me, what functional health is really all about. Allergy pills don't eliminate the source of your allergies. Taking weight loss products don't fix the fact that your metabolism slowed down. Zit cream doesn't stop you from getting acne. Avoiding gluten or milk does not take care of your gluten or milk intolerance. And that's very important for people to realize and understand. I have a lot of clients who come in and I say, how's your digestion? And they say, oh, it's just great. I don't eat wheat, I don't eat bread, and I don't drink milk. It's like, okay, your digestive system is not good. It's just you're avoiding that. You know, it's like a broken car window. You only notice it's leaking if it's raining, right? No, it's still broken, okay, is what it is. Anyway, so applying lotion to eczema doesn't address why you're getting it in the first place. Taking a sleeping pill or even melatonin doesn't get rid of your insomnia. Taking ibuprofen for pain doesn't say why you're hurting. Drinking coffee doesn't fix your problem with fatigue. These are all simply symptoms that your cells are out of balance. And so, you know, you never want to prescribe, never want to treat, never want all these things. But when people come to me with issues, I will simply say, oh, well, it sounds like your nervous system is out of balance. Oh, it sounds like your digestive system is out of balance. Even if they tell me about, you know, different diagnoses of the digestive system. I have celiac, I have Crohn's, I have whatever. And I just always say, sounds like your digestive system is out of balance. Let's see what we can do to get it into balance. Your eczema, you know, you have that. Well, it sounds like for some reason your skin is either not being fed properly or not being cleansed properly. And so then it's coming out in the skin in eczema or something. So I always really talk about that it's an imbalance is what it is. And so then I say, well, there are some products that have been shown to get the cells back into balance. So this is not something I found anywhere, but this is something that I truly believe in my, 12 and a half years of being in business, is that there are really 4 pillars to making a cell healthy and functional. And first of all, what we need to do is feed the cell. We need to cleanse the cell. You need to energize the cell, and you need to help with cellular communication. Because if the cells aren't talking to one another, we're in a lot of trouble, is what we are. And so this really is what I focus on when I look at the Vitality Stack, because this is exactly what the Vitality Stack actually does. So feeding, cleansing, energizing, and then with cellular communication. And again, the cells need to get nutrients from foods. And so it's not also just the food that you eat, but what your foods have the ability to digest and absorb. And so I do have clients who come in here and they're purists and they eat all organic, and they can give me the whole list of all the foods and everything that they're getting and they're eating, and they truly are eating a perfect diet, but they'll come to me and they'll say, but I'm still sick. Why am I still not feeling well? Why do I still have skin things? Why can I still not sleep? I have muscle aches and pains and things. What is happening? And so my answer to them is that the wonderful, beautiful food that they're eating is not digesting and it's not absorbing. So the very first thing that I always will talk to people about is their digestive system, okay? The next thing is that the cells really need to be clean. And so cells will be more efficient if they're clean. And remember, when a lot of times people hear about cleansing and they think about the colon and they think about taking like a lot of laxatives and things like that. And they think like a 3 or 4 day colon cleanse is going to get their cells clean. But the reality of it is it's not. And our bodies were meant to clean our cells a little bit every single day. And so not to just do a harsh cleanse once or twice a year, but we were made to slowly cleanse our body every single day. And again, so not just the colon, but dirty, toxic, or damaged cells, they don't function like they're supposed to function. And that doesn't matter what kind of tissue it is, if it's muscle tissue or bones or brain cells or skin or stomach or hair or nails, it doesn't matter. A toxic cell cannot do what it is supposed to do. And of course, that is our crotandum nerve 2, because the protandim nerve 2 is proven that it helps to cleanse our cells every single day. And we don't just want harsh cleanses and then get all toxic again. That's just not how our body function. And our cells also need the energy to function. Cells need usable energy to do the work that they're needing to do. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And of course, that is our protandum nerve number 1. Okay? And then our cells need to communicate. And the reality is without good communication, nothing is going to work. If our pineal pituitary gland is not telling our thyroid to produce some thyroxine, if our thyroid isn't telling our liver how much cholesterol to produce, and just all sorts of communication that needs to happen and needs to get done. And without good cellular communication, our body also will fail, because we are just a network of communication so that our entire body can do that. And that really is the omegas. And I'll go into, some people don't really realize the importance that the omega plays in cellular communication. So that is really the vitality stack. You really look at it, it's the vitality stack is what it is, okay? So this is my family. This is at my son's graduation just this last weekend. So we have 2 daughters and a son, and then it's Bill and I. So we can talk about that a different time, okay? But we really need to look at feeding the cell. And I know that LifeVantage does not have a digestive enzyme, but I strongly, strongly believe in digestive enzymes. But I want to go through it a little bit is how do we actually feed the cell? Now, first and foremost, we need to be eating good, healthy food. But if we don't have digestive enzymes in our stomach, and we don't have good probiotics in the small and large intestine, digestive enzymes helps our food to break down. And then the probiotic is really what will help with the more cellular food breakdown, but also will protect the gut integrity and also help things to absorb and help to manufacture some neurotransmitters is actually what it does. So just like if you eat an orange, if you don't have the right amount of digestive enzymes in the stomach, then you won't get the vitamin C and the other vitamins and minerals that come out of that orange. So you can eat it, but it might just not even break down into all the vitamins and minerals that you're needing. Okay, so really the human digestive system is just a series of organs that converts food into nutrients for our body to be absorbed, and it also eliminates unused waste material. It's essential for good health, because if the digestive system shuts down, the body can't be nourished, and it can't rid itself of waste. So it's really, really vital. I did my concerns with the digestive enzymes and also the probiotics, and why I feel that people need both of them every single day, is that our digestive enzymes, we do produce some digestive enzymes in our mouth, but then also in the lining of our stomach. But when I was researching to find out why some people's digestive the lining of the stomach is compromised, and you know what came up? Oxidative stress. When the lining of the stomach has oxidative stress on it, the body will not produce the amount of digestive enzymes that it's needing. And so then sometimes as it churns, then we'll have an imbalance of the amount of hydrochloric acid in the stomach and digestive enzymes. And when that happens, people tend to get stomach acid reflux and heartburn and all those kinds of things. So really, even for that is make your stomach more efficient with digestive enzymes. And then of course is the probiotics, and I love our probiotic because it actually gets down to the small and large intestine. Many of them don't get down that far, and so I find profound difference with our ProBio as opposed to other probiotics that I was using for years, and people were feeling good, but they were taking like 7, 8, 10 of them a day, but they were feeling good. They were eating them kind of like M&Ms. And so these same clients can now switch just to the ProBio and just take like 3 a day. So it's phenomenal. But you need to first break down the food, and then need to help to absorb the food. I just threw this slide in here because I think it's very important to look at the signs of nutritional deficits in children. So depression and anxiety usually is because of a lack of protein. Hyperactivity is minerals. Delayed speech, B12. Cranky sporadic emotions are your omegas. Dry skin, hair, and nails are your fat-soluble vitamins. Crowding of teeth, cavities, frequent colds, poor cranial structure, obesity. And that's one thing that I think many people can struggle with, because if you don't have digestive enzymes and probiotics in the gut, even though you eat awesome and great food, but if you're not breaking it down, you're not getting all the vitamins and minerals of that food, the body actually thinks that it's starving. So it will actually store fat. rather than letting it go and utilizing. So it feels like it's starving. And so any calories that you put in many, many times, it will store it as fat. So that's why metabolisms can really be changed with doing enzymes and probiotics. And of course, this is our Physique ProBio. Supports that healthy microbiome, patented BioTrack Wellmune, we all know this, and that 60% of it actually can get down to the small and large intestine. And it helps improve the tight junctions and communication between your brain and the gut to help you signal that it's full. So this is actually a slide that I just love, because on the left-hand side, it shows the tight junctions that your gut is actually supposed to have. Now, first of all, what causes it to become inflamed is actually lack of digestive enzymes. Because if you're trying to digest some, let's say, meat or, I don't know, crackers or bread or something, and you don't completely digest it, large particles are actually passing from the stomach down into the small intestine, and all those little finger-like structures that are on top of there, they will actually, these here little finger-like structures, can you imagine if these toxins and microorganisms, whole pieces of gluten and things like that are bumping against all of these little tiny fingers along here? And of course, if you would have a bump on your arm and somebody's taking a hammer and hitting it on your arm a lot, it's going to start to swell. And so that's what happens along here, is that it actually starts to swell and causes some inflammation. And then of course what that does is it allows these larger particles, because the cell wall is weakened, and it allows these larger particles to get in. The other thing that undigested food particles also do is allow yeast and fungus and parasitic activity to live. And when yeast and fungus and parasites are living, they eat up the probiotics that are in our gut. Is what they do. So probiotics are actually supposed to put a really nice thin protective layer along here and actually act as gatekeepers to say what gets into the bloodstream and what does not get into the bloodstream. But when the foods aren't broken down and you have them bumping along all this, then it's weakened integrity. And then also when you have yeast and fungus and parasitic activity kind of running along in there eating up the probiotics, then you're really lacking in the amount of probiotic that you need to really protect this. When these toxins and microorganisms and gluten are not supposed to be getting into the bloodstream, and when gluten and things like that do get into the bloodstream, then of course you have an array of inflammation going on in the bloodstream as well. So then it's systemic inflammation, blood-brain barrier breach, food intolerances, autoimmune disorders, and nutrient malabsorption. So again, if it's not breaking it down, that's why enzymes and probiotics are so important. I did have a client come to me, and she was getting her Protandim from another person. She told me that she was on Protandim for 2 years and noticed a little bit of a difference in her left ankle just because it wasn't as swollen. But she said other than that, she really didn't notice anything different. And so I said to her, well, you really probably should be adding the ProBio into it, and then also a digestive enzyme in it. And within 2 weeks, she noticed a huge difference with the Protandim. So she was already doing it for 2 years. But I really believe that the Protandim itself wasn't getting properly digested and properly absorbed into the body. So all those beautiful 5 herbs that we have that can help the cells to clean probably weren't even getting in to her gut at all. And so, right now, if people tell me, well, I can't afford all of it, I'm like, then it's probiotics and Nerf 2. That really is where they're at. I hardly want to give out a probiotic, the Nerf 2 without the probiotic as well. And so why do we lack in digestive enzymes and probiotics? Generally, again, because we do have a lot of oxidative stress, so we don't manufacture enough enzymes. We're also supposed to be getting a lot of digestive enzymes from our fresh fruits and veggies, but they radiate the fresh fruits and veggies and many other things so that they have a longer shelf life. And they actually also radiate organic kinds of things. So although organics are better for you, they still radiate it so that they don't go bad on the shelf. And so what that does is then it depletes the amount of digestive enzymes that we are bringing into our body. So 12 years ago when I started my business, I did not believe everybody needed a digestive enzyme. Right now, everybody tests that they need a digestive enzyme. And then the probiotics also, many people know that antibiotics kill off probiotics. Or remember, undigested foods causing gluten and parasitic activity, they eat up probiotics. The other thing is if we ever eat any foods that have preservatives in them. So if you're ever eating macaroni and cheese or any kind of noodle or any shelf-stable kinds of things, that has antibacterials in it. So when we eat those foods, again, we are killing off the probiotics that are supposed to be protecting our gut integrity and helping with many other things. Probiotics actually also help the body to make serotonin. And serotonin is the neurotransmitter, the kind of the feel-good neurotransmitter that many people who have depression and anxiety actually take selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So that's why if you ever Google anxiety, depression, and probiotics, there's tons and tons and tons of research on that, because our body makes its own probiotics, makes its own serotonin in its gut. So can you imagine if our gut isn't working? There's a huge incidence right now too in the last 15, 20 years of anxiety and depression. So could we just assist the body in making its own feel-good hormone by supporting the gut? So ProBio is just so vital for that. The next thing that we want to focus on is really cleansing out that cell. We know that toxic cells, because of foods and inappropriate digestion, the EMFs from cell phones and things like that, pollution, exhaust, and lots of things. We know that we have more toxins in our cells right now than we ever have in history. Okay, toxic cells lead to inflammation, which you all know this. Inflammation eventually, the body goes into protection mode is what it does, and it actually starts to lay down some scar tissue when there's a lot of inflammation. Just like if you're wearing a bad fitting shoe, initially the shoe will rub and rub and rub on the foot, and then you will start to get like a blister first, and then all of a sudden, if you keep wearing that shoe, you start to develop a callus. And so the same thing happens on the inside of our bodies, on the inside cells of our bodies. And so what happens is, first the cell is inflamed. Then the cell becomes hardened because it's so tired of all of that inflammation, okay? And the cell wall becomes hardened. And of course, then that, of course, sometimes can even lead to like insulin resistance and those kinds of things, because the cell wall actually is getting hardened because it's being bombarded by those free radicals all the time. Inflammation, then scar tissue, and then gland or tissue organ damage is what it actually will eventually lead to. Now, this is just an example of what can happen to the internal organs of the body. If the internal organs of the body start to get really, really stressed a lot, and they start to develop scar tissue and start to develop fat around the inside glands of the body, that's where it's really dangerous fat, because it surrounds the pancreas, it surrounds the liver, and does all sorts of things. And so when there's a lot of oxidative stress on the internal organs of the body, that is where it really wreaks a lot of havoc. This is kind of the stages of liver damage. So again, you have a healthy liver. When the body starts to develop some inflammation, it stores some fat around that liver. Then that leads to, see, scar tissue forms, right? Liver fibrosis. And if it continues to, the scar tissue continues to form, it actually starts to make connective tissue and destroys the cells of the liver. But it all starts right here with oxidative stress and with inflammation is what it does. So then you can see too why sometimes the belly wall actually becomes distended with that. So oxidative stress is a serious thing for the internal organs of our body. This is also a healthy heart compared to a visceral fat heart. And again, when you look at here, not only does the heart, when it's under a lot of stress, start to form fatty deposits and scar tissue on the outside, it's also showing here that it's also storing some fatty things on the inside. And also look at the size of the heart. You see the difference in the size of the heart? Because the fat and the scar tissue is not just on the outside of the heart, it's in between all of the muscles of the heart. So this is what it leads to when you're not cleansing the body properly. Okay, and when you have internal organs of the body, it's so dangerous is what it is, okay? So of course, Protandim Nerve 2 is the cleanser of all the cells and keeping especially the internal organs of the body very, very healthy. So again, proven to lower oxidative stress, supports natural cellular repair, rejuvenation processes, and increases the median lifespan of the mice, which we all know about. The next thing that we really have to look at is energizing the cell, because the cell doesn't just need to be cleansed, it also needs to have enough energy to actually be doing everything that it needs to do. Come on. I just pushed go. Please go. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, okay, so this is, boy, I really jumped ahead here. Okay, so we all know that the cellular energizer for the cell is protandim NRF1, okay, and it's made of all of those things. Now, what I found was very interesting, and this is at mitoaction.org, so you can look this up yourself, but the mitochondria are responsible for creating 90% of the energy needed to sustain life and to support organ function. So not only do our organs and the cells of our entire body need to be cleansed, they actually have to have enough energy so that they can repair and heal what they need. So of course, if you're lacking in mitochondria, you're going to have poor growth, muscle weakness, neurological issues, seizures, all sorts of things. Kidney and heart and liver kinds of gastrointestinal things. So there's a lot of things that can happen when your body doesn't have the energy that it needs to actually repair and heal that cell. The mitochondria convert, this is a little misleading only because it doesn't actually convert whole food into energy. You need to first eat the food and you need to break down the food. And so it actually, what it does is it actually converts your nutrients. So like your amino acids and your vitamins and minerals and your amino acids, it actually converts that, the mitochondria convert that into cellular energy, which is called ATP. And so what can happen and why sometimes all of these conditions that are really neurological conditions, and even like chronic fatigue, because if you can imagine a cell that needs to convert nutrients into energy, if you have 2 mitochondria in there, right? Or if you have 8 mitochondria in there, the 8 mitochondria are going to the cell's just going to work so much more efficient. But if you only have 2 mitochondria and they're working so hard to be able to help that cell to reproduce and help that cell to function and help the cell to do what it's supposed to do, if it's a muscle cell or a brain cell, whatever it is, those 2 mitochondria are working very hard, running at like 150 miles an hour. But if you have 8 mitochondria in there, they could probably only have to run like 50 or 75 miles an hour. And so I like to compare that to pulling a boat with a little tiny Toyota or pulling it with a big truck. Okay, that's really the difference. You're going to waste more gas. It's going to take you longer to get there, and you're going to wear that engine out of that little tiny Toyota than you would in a big truck. And that's the same thing that's happening to our cells. And that really is the underlying thing with chronic fatigue syndrome, okay, is what it is. Chronic fatigue, it can be a diagnosis, but the reality of it is that you're just telling the doctor that you've been tired for a really, really long time. That's all you're telling the doctor. So cleanse those cells and help those cells to really energize. Now, also we need to look at cellular communication because your cells need to talk. Your brain needs to tell your big toe what to do. Your stomach needs to tell your brain what's going on within it. And so just every cell in your body just really has to communicate. And the omegas really do help with that. I think of the omegas much like 2 things. First of all, lotion on the inside of your body. And when you have cellular irritation, remember, if the cell is irritated for a long time, first inflames and then the cell wall kind of becomes hardened. And what happens then is that it's nutrients getting into the cell is more difficult. Waste products getting out of the cell is more difficult because the cell wall is hardened is what it is. So much like if you have a callus on your foot, or if you have some rough skin on your hand, what do? You put lotion on there. Lotion is oil-based is what it is, and so it softens up the skin on your foot or on your hand or wherever it may be. The same kinds of things happens with the omegas inside the body, and then that's why it can support with cognition, heart, and skin health, and things like that, because really it helps with that cell permeability. So it helps to soften up kind of that callous cell so that nutrition can get in and waste products can definitely get out of the cell. The other thing I love about our omega is that it's that boat to bottle. And I read one place that it said that it actually wanted to have like an 8-hour time frame from boat to bottle, which is fabulous and incredible is what I think. I always strive to have people really getting their fish oils very, very fresh. When you bite into a fish oil that is rancid, that tastes fishy and is rancid, it actually creates more inflammation in the body than less inflammation in the body. So when you're talking to people about fish oil, I will challenge people at the classes. I make sure you have a fresh bottle of the fish oil, but I challenge them to bite it. I'll say bite it. It's going to taste oily, but it should not taste like fish. And way back, like when I first started studying natural health, they always said, if a fish oil tastes fishy, it's rancid. And you would never eat rancid butter. You would never cook with rancid olive oil. You would never do that. It causes more damage to your cell than not taking any fish oil at all. And people need to realize that. Many people will say, you know, they put their fish oils in the freezer so they don't burp them up. Well, if it's that rancid, don't put that in your body, okay? So it's such an advantage to be on the Vitality Stack where you are getting a fresh bottle of fish oil every single month. It's like phenomenal, really. I don't encourage people to buy fish oils in big bulk, Sam's Club and all those things, because by the time you open that bottle, it starts to oxidize and more than likely it's going to start to go rancid. The other thing that really high quality companies do with fish oils when they want to preserve their fish oil is that they combine it with citrus oils is what they do. And so this one, there's other very good high quality fish oils, but you know that the company has good integrity and wants to keep their fish oil fresh when they combine it with citrus. Citrus helps fish oil to not go rancid. And that's what ours tastes like. It tastes like citrus as well. So this one is just like phenomenal. I also love that the omega-7s are in there because that is shown to help with the visceral fat. And you saw in some of those other slides, what happens when the visceral organs of the body start to store fat in and around them, that they just don't function like they need to. And that really is what depletes our health. So this is just phenomenal and awesome with it. Now, another thing I want to tell you in regards to essential fatty acids is that whenever you hear something that says essential fatty acids means that the body does not make it. Okay? Bodies don't make essential fatty acids. We have to take essential fatty acids. And that's why they're essential for us. Now, you can get them in foods. You can get them in avocados. You can get them in some of those other kinds of foods too. But they're essential because our body does not make it. So we have to get it from somewhere. Okay? So although, like I said, it helps with that cell permeability because it kind of, I like to think it as putting lotion on the inside of the cell. People who have dry skin, either they're not getting their enough essential fatty acids usually in the body. Please remember this too, if people are not breaking down their fats, they will get oily skin and oily hair. So when you hear people saying that they're having issues even with our wonderful shampoo, they can do a couple of things to help, of course, to be putting the baking soda in there. But really the thing is that the body's pushing those undigested oils out through the skin is what it's doing. And so that's why people will get greasy hair, greasy skin, things like that. But it's really that, and then they really need the ProBio because the ProBio helps to break down fats. That's one thing that the probiotic does. But anyway, so on the nerve cell itself, and this is why I consider this to really be helping with cellular communication. Again, softening up that cellular wall, but also where it boosts cognitive ability. It improves processing speed, neurotransmitter activity to improve focus and concentration, skin health, we talked about that already, and then supports joint flexibility and bone strength. And again, when the cells can be more flexible because they kind of have lotion on them, and then it also acts as an anti-inflammatory agent. But what I want to talk really here about this improves processing speed. Now, this is the picture of a nerve cell, okay, all the way down here. A nerve cell many times is compared actually to like an electrical cord. And so if you can think about the inside wire and then you have the insulator on the outside of that electrical cord. Now, if the insulator is broken, it will start to short circuit, right? If you have all these wires inside your box, and if a mouse or something like that is eaten through some of the plastic coating on the wire, then you know that you are a risk for a shock, you're a risk for fire, you're a risk for all sorts of things that it's not working correctly. Okay, these little things right here, these little purple things, that is actually called the myelin sheath, is what it is right here, the myelin sheath. That is much like the insulator that is actually on a wire inside your wall. Okay, the myelin sheath actually is what helps with this processing speed, because so if the nerve is triggered here, okay, and it has to give that cellular communication all the way down to here to either go to that, like this, let's pretend this is your brain. Of course, it's not in the right in the right proportions, but anyway, let's say this is your from your brain, and this is going to tell your leg to move, right? So when all of this is all insulated all along here, that nerve impulse can travel very, very, very dramatically along there, and it can tell the rest of your body what to be doing. Okay. The interesting thing is that the myelin sheath is actually made out of fatty acids, fat tissue. So that's why when you can feed the body with these omega-3s, it's very important to keep the integrity of this myelin sheath. When the myelin sheath starts to actually break down, then of course sometimes instead of the nerve impulse going all the way down here into the end of it, sometimes it can short circuit kind of like out the side. Okay, so then what will happen is that the nerve won't function like it's supposed to function. Actually, when the myelin sheath starts to decay away here, starts to be eaten away because of too many toxins, because of oxidative stress, that is actually when people are diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. That's actually what it is that the myelin sheath has holes in it. The myelin sheath is decomposing. And as you can see, their brain is telling which muscle to move, and it's not functioning correctly. And it's because of the insulators are starting to be broken, is what it is. And so there's little breakages here, but what all that is for extra sodium to go in to help the nerve impulse to really travel a lot longer. So the neat thing is so anytime that anyone I have a nephew who has Tourette's, is what he has, or had, maybe, whatever, but within 2 weeks of doing the high doses of these essential fatty acids, the Nerve2, so it was the Nerve2, the ProBio digestive enzymes, the essential fatty acids, and Axio. And in 12 days, his Tourette tics decreased by 50%. And right now, he's 95% tick-free after 7 or 8 months on it. But I really focus on anytime brain function. These essential fatty acids are so vital and so important that we really, really need to be having them, because it protects the myelin sheath. And that's why it definitely helps with cellular communication to speed up the processing speed of it. And so when you are working with anyone who's looking at better brain function to get more essential fatty acids into their body, and good ones, not rancid ones, okay, we want to be doing. Okay, so that's, I don't know where Tanya's at. She's there. Yeah, I hope. But anyway, so this is really what I show.
I'm here, Gloria.
You're
Sorry,
there.
I have to take off to get my husband. But I'm still here.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
But anyway, so this is just kind of like talking about the whole inflammation, and I use this example in my classes sometimes, talking about inflammation in a frog of water. And so we can take a pot of water and fill it with cool water, and you can put the frog in there, and you can put it on a burner, and you can bring it up to heat, and the frog will actually boil to death, is what he will do. Okay, now you can also take a pot of water, fill it with the cool water, boil the water, and then try to put the frog into it, and it will completely jump out. And so just an example of when we allow inflammation, oxidative stress to slowly creep up on us, sometimes we just feel that we're not sleeping well, we don't have enough energy, all those kinds of things. And so we really, if we would know that we were going to develop a kind of condition, that we will in the future, if we don't do something, we would quickly jump away from that. We would quickly jump and take our Protandim is what we would be doing, okay, within there. This is also how the body kind of rebuilds itself, and this is why it's so important that we stay on the Vitality Stack for all of that time, because it goes all together. So, alrighty, Tanya, dear Tanya, can't see her.
Okay, are you finished, hon?
I am. Yep.
Okay, thank you so much, Gloria. Like, I loved how the education you gave us, and then the stories that went with it. Oh my gosh, those stories are phenomenal, especially the Tourette story. That's just an amazing testimony, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So does anyone have any questions? Oh, I don't know if I can unmute you. Yes, you're good.
Anyone? Okay, sorry, I'm running around.
No, that's okay. That's okay. What I was going to say is also when people ask kind of like about like financially, they're like, well, I can't do all of it. It's 150, comes to 163 with tax, with shipping, and I mean with tax on it to get it to their house. I will really encourage them to do all 4 products, but maybe half the amount. But I so feel that for a cellular health and cellular function, that people really need to do all 4 things. And so again, if they say, they just can't, it's like, well then, and maybe do the full dosage of the probiotic, but it's better for them to do half the dose of all 4 and it lasts for 2 months than doing one or the other, just because they all work in conjunction together, and that people really need to really, really be helping their cells. Is what it is. So
I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Spending
and it's
the
rare,
money,
and
getting the products, but just taking half. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and I think too, when people understand on the cellular level and what it's actually doing to the cell and how it protects the gut integrity, and it has less toxins getting in by protecting the gut with the probiotic. For the most part, myself and even my downline, I mean, everybody gets on the whole Vitality Stack. Once they understand the importance of it, and even on a cellular level, very, very important. The other thing with it is that if people are saying that they're spending a lot of other monies on isolated nutritional supplements, but they're still not necessarily feeling very well, it's like the question always is that why? Like if a person's lacking in vitamin D, or they're lacking in calcium, or they're lacking in something like that, 2 things always come to mind. Number 1, why are they not absorbing enough of it? And that really promotes doing kind of like the gut integrity and really help with digestion. And the other thing is, why is the body overusing that? So we all know that like vitamin B are our stress vitamins, and that really our nervous system needs vitamin B. But if we're not digesting and absorbing the foods that we're eating, we're lacking in vitamin B. And if our nervous system is not healthy, it's going to overutilize vitamin B. And so what I find, I sometimes challenge people, unless they have a doctor's order for a certain vitamin or mineral, then they need to stay on that. But sometimes I challenge them to just kind of like put those other isolated vitamins and minerals on the back burner and get their cells to function like they're supposed to function. Many of them find that they're no longer needing those isolated supplements to be helping with the symptoms of things, because now their body's getting the vitamins and minerals in it, and their cells are not overutilizing the vitamin or mineral. So that's kind of what
I love it.
doing, so.
Such amazing information, Gloria. Thank you so much. And everybody, I would suggest, like, I'll get this recording out as soon as I can. This is just something you want to bookmark and keep. Share with new distributors, because it's just such an amazing way to build their belief and get them to, many times when someone starts the business, they want to start with maybe a couple products at a time, or maybe just start with Protandim. And this is just a great way to build their belief in what we have and get them using the entire system, so that they're sharing the same thing with everyone else. And there's just so many little coined and key things in this that we can all take. I mean, none of us can be Gloria, right? None of us can be one another, but to be able to listen back to this and just equip yourself with those things that stand out to you that you can add into your presentation is a real key and just a real gift. So Gloria, I thank you so much for doing this tonight, and I can't wait to get the recording out. Guys, I have a list of shout outs that I wanted to do, but I will make a post for those and just shout out everyone's activity in the last week. I wanted to say too, I'm really proud of everyone that was able to, I know Kristen sent me a form, just everyone that was able to get in on that Mother's Day promotion. I believe they'll probably be doing the drawing tomorrow for the Mother's Day promo that they did. And then also be watching Vitality Hustle, because we are all going to be on there once a day. You'll see a Pro-Fiver up just giving you a daily action, whether it's reaching out to 3 new people, whatever it is. Every day there's going to be someone on there giving you an activity for you to do and for you to achieve for that day. And I think it's going to be a ton of fun. It'll start tomorrow and it'll go through the end of the month. So make sure that you're looking for those on Vitality Hustle. And again, if you're not on there, let us know so that we can get you added. There's just a lot of fun things that are happening on that page. So, all right. I love you guys all very much. Thank you again, Gloria. Thank you everyone for jumping on tonight. I'm sorry that I had to shoot out the door, but that's my life right now, and that's okay. So everyone have a wonderful night, and thanks again for tuning in. Thank you, Gloria.
Okay, you're welcome. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, ladies.